But getting into other more current events, apparently Kevin Spacey, he's not the only one who's throwing off this type of behavior. Recently, I seen Bobby Lee apologizing to one George Janko. Now, Andy, have you seen anything about this? I'm sure you're familiar with both of these characters, yeah?
More of Bobby Lee, but like I've seen George, and he doesn't really catch my attention as much as Bobby Lee.
Gotcha. So Bobby Lee, for those who are listening, he is the creator and main host of Tiger Belly, the podcast. He is one of the co-hosts of Bad Friends. He was on Mad TV back in the day when it was on. He's been in various movies. He is an actor. He is a comedian. He's actually a pretty funny guy. But he's known for very lewd comedy. Like, this guy will literally go on stage and just flash his asshole to the audience. Why some people find that funny, I don't know. You know, I'm more of a punchline kind of guy, more of a Shane Gillis guy myself. I don't need to go to a comedy show and see somebody's asshole to have a good time. But that's just me. This square-headed dude that we're going to be talking about is George Janko. And George Janko, he was one of the co-hosts for the Impulsive podcast. That's Logan Paul's podcast. And it was Logan Paul, I think this guy named Mike Malik, and then George Janko. And George was, I think, a later add-on to the show, but he was good friends with all of the guys. He was a pretty integral part of the show. Now, I found this interesting. I found this apology video. Bobby Lee apologizing to George Janko on his podcast, on George's podcast. George has his own podcast now. So if you can, Andy, let's open this up and check out this apology video real quick.
Oh, way to go.
So George, we'll talk about other things, but I want to open up by saying that I'm sorry. I feel I just want to break down what happened with the Jake Paul podcast.
Got it.
Okay. So I usually do podcasts in my ecosystem, right? So it's like I know the rhythms and I know what I can and can't say, and generally, everything is people are pretty open to. They know who I am, right? But with you guys, I didn't know, so and also it's a huge platform, so I was like super nervous. So I tend to get bullyish and out of survival. Okay.
And you looked at the weak calf. I get it, dude.
Let's give that a pause real fast. Andy, you and I both know how Bobby Lee is. These outbursts are not new, right? This is this part of his shtick, which I like. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a fan of Bobby. I like him. And this seems like a sincere apology, right? These two are sitting in George's living room. They got this the pod mic set up. It looks nice. Bobby's being very sincere. He's even looking at the crew. He's like, I'm sorry, guys. I was nervous when I was on your podcast back in the day. I didn't know how to act. Seems very sincere. I can assure you it was not. So we'll keep this one open. Let's go back to the show notes and open this next one. This is the walk-off. This is the incident. This is only part of the incident of why Bobby is now apologizing to George. Now, if you're someone who's just listening at home, you got Logan Paul, you got Mike Malik, you got George Janko. Bobby is sitting in between George and Logan. Bobby is not facing George at all. They're sitting in chairs next to each other. It's not like they're going to be face to face. But in a typical conversation, people would generally be facing like the same center point, right? Everybody would be trying to have a normal conversation so that they can kind of at least see each other somewhat. Bobby's not doing any of that. Bobby completely has his back turned to George as if George is some piece of shit that is not even worth his time. Why is George even here? is probably what's going through his mind. So let's watch this. This is the second half of the incident, which I find funny that this is what they left in the clip.
He is clocked out.
Yeah, I know.
George has been under a tremendous amount of abuse.
No, George.
No, stop, George. I want you over here with me. George, I want you over here with me. Chase him down. Go. You find him. George, no, go get him. Go get him. I said this, he walked, and that's a first, and now we're going to have to deal with the fallout of this episode for the next 2 months. I swear to God, Bobby Lee, you pissed off my co-host. He's probably crying in the driveway.
You know, the Beatles could have lost Ringo.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
oh, man.
Here we go.
Shout out to the mic.
Right there, you can see this is a person who doesn't give a shit. And once again, I like Bobby. But he does not give a shit that George just left. And the Ringo joke, I gotta admit, that's funny as hell. That's hilarious. The Beatles really could have lost Ringo. Ringo wasn't even the best drummer in the Beatles. So this joke, it sticks, it lands. Little does Bobby know, George is actually somebody who holds a little more influence than he had anticipated. But we'll get to that a little bit later. That's the whole reason that Bobby's even apologizing to him. Because now George is somebody who can hold his own in the podcast space. So this incident, this is the walk-off. You can play a little bit more. Look at Logan and this guy are friends with him.
Let's shoot fucking Abbey Road. Record Abbey Road.
We just shot a new profile picture.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying is that
we need him.
That attitude right there was just unprofessional.
It was a bit unprofessional.
It was unprofessional.
Yeah, it was.
Listen, I'm a guest, right? I feel hurt and abandoned.
I know.
I feel rejected.
Me too.
And this was fucked up, bro.
All right.
So if he doesn't come, because I got.
This is that to me. That doesn't seem like somebody who's nervous. Just seems like somebody who's kicking somebody while they're down. And the fact that Logan and Mike are just acting like this. Like, Andy, I'll bring it back to you. If this was us, I'd be having a fucking big problem with the goddamn guest. I don't give a shit who you are.
100% true.
Like, you can't just come onto my show and just fucking pick apart my dudes like that. Like, that's fucking crazy. That's insane talk. And then the fact that he walks off and I get it. You want to try to make it interesting and podcast, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, should we expect anything less of Logan? This is like the same guy who's posting his beefs with his brother online and shit like that. It's like, come the fuck on, dude. They're like literally getting into arguments on episodes of this podcast. Shit that should never be aired out. Logan's like, post it. Full send it. Like, this guy's fucking out of his mind. I'll admit, he's a hell of a wrestler. Other than that, he's fucking retarded. So let's go back to the show notes. I want to show you that I thought it was funny that they, in that one clip, they left out probably the most important part of this walk-off. Because if you watch that, it really does seem like, I get it. They're talking shit and everything, but if you would just watch that clip and took no other context in any other form, tried to just go off of that clip alone, it does look like George is being unprofessional. He just walks off. He doesn't say anything. He looks very perturbed. And once we dive into this clip, you'll understand why. Bobby Lee shows a little bit of that Kevin Spacey charisma in this one.
But I spray the fuck on my.
Why?
Maybe, Mike, you want to smell?
I would.
No, you are. No, you are.
No question.
I'm not gonna pull it out. I'm gonna just do the underwear.
Question.
It would be him. It would be George.
Yeah, George.
It would.
Yeah. Just smell.
No. You can't spray your with cologne.
Why?
Because if you end up getting oral, they're gonna taste the cologne. You got to go under to the gooch, and everyone knows that.
He's got an answer.
No, I have an answer to that.
The side.
I'm not gonna lie, he's got a point.
Yeah, right. Like
Side gooch.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but it can't be too heavy either.
Not gonna lie, he's got a point.
But what you guys don't get is that there's no girl in the horizon, right? So I spray it first.
It's like biblical what you just said.
Well, it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
It's like
good.
prophecy.
The prophecy,
There's
right?
like-
There's no girl on the
There's
horizon.
no girl
right?
on the horizon.
But I spray it just in case. Like if I'm walking down Melrose, right? And then what I would do is this. I would go to the bathroom, I would take tissue, and I would wipe the head and the stem of my penis. It's not a lot.
Is that why you use the word stem?
Yes. Yeah. What?
Like a mushroom.
I'm
It's
just
like a little, it's like a
This is
mushroom.
crazy.
like the beginning of a plant, like a fledgling.
What cologne? Like what?
Well, that's why I want him to smell.
Or maybe
yeah.
he'll know this.
Here we go.
So don't worry about it, guys. I'm not going to show my dick. Okay?
smell his dick.
Oh shit! He really his ass is out.
Look at the tattoo.
all the money and,
got a tattoo.
and you're
It's-
using fruit.
I feel like you got that in prison.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Dude, I just got the biggest
That's-
boner for some
smell
reason.
this part. Smell this part. No, smell. You got to smell
I
it.
just wafted it, bro.
Dude,
Just wafted.
dude, this is not gay. It's podcasting. It's for entertainment.
It's
And if-
material.
And in improv, you never disagree. You always agree.
yes and.
Because
Yes and.
you ruin the fucking moment if you don't do it. So you're gonna fucking smell my dick, and it's not gay.
It's material, George.
Yeah. So here. I have to grab your head.
No.
It smelled good. It smelled good.
Just smell it.
He's right. It smells like.
Does it really?
Like
Does it
what?
really?
Like,
It smelled like he sprayed it like 2 days ago.
but describe the scent.
This is fucking all right.
Now,
It took a little longer to get to the goddamn point than I would have liked, but this is that right there. You can see George is like even being a good sport about the whole thing. So where did it take this turn? It probably took a turn when Bobby kept egging this fucking dude on. Like right there, you're losing me, my man, with the whole balls in the face. Like I'm all for comedy, but come on, let's be real here. It's fucking gay as shit, dude. It's not gay. It's not gay, Bobby. It's not gay. It's not gay. And then he goes, pulls out his balls. Come on, dude. I mean, I get it. That's Bobby Lee's thing. That's his thing. But then we get to this apology, right? So let's check out this other one. The apology now comes from the fact that no, we can go back to the show notes. So the apology is now stemming from the fact that after the initial walk-off, which happened after that incident we just watched, after the walk-off, George just left the show, which rightfully so. If I was on a show as a co-host and I would have watched that clip back of how they acted when I had left off of all that bullshit that I had put up with prior to try to make the show entertaining for the co-hosts, I would have fucking quit too. Now we get to George Janko having his own podcast. It's big. It's big as shit. Do I like watching it? No. It's a little bit it's a little cucky to me. You know, he's very big on like Christ and blah blah, which is fine. You have your religion. I don't knock on that, you know. I don't necessarily believe in God, but I believe in some sort of spiritual something. I'm sure it's out there and we'll find it eventually. But he's very big into Christ, and he kind of has that trad wives and this Andrew Tate type vibe of how like he's not necessarily a sexist, but he kind of just falls along the lines of very conservative, which once again, that's not a problem either. Live your life. It's just not the kind of stuff I necessarily like to listen to. But these interviews that he ends up pulling, they get big numbers. So now he's somebody who doesn't need Impulsive. He doesn't need Bobby Lee. He doesn't need any of that shit. And he goes on to explain this to Mike in this clip right here and basically tells him the whole thing. Let's give that one a click.
I never had a problem with Bobby Lee.
No, he knows
I
that.
had a problem with the way that Logan and you were kind of gassing him to keep doing. He started the episode putting his balls in my face. I let that one go. Then every 2 seconds, he kept grabbing my dick.
I don't think.
How would you feel if a man that has his back completely towards you, that only turns around to grab your dick,
Right.
talk shit to your face, and you can't smack or beat the living
Well, I
brakes
didn't-
off of
well,
this guy?
so I-
because Logan makes me apologize to this man, or I don't have a job on Impulsive anymore. How fucking crazy is that? I said, Mike, this is all that happens, and you said verbatim. You said, it's our fault for not telling you this, but me and Logan are really the ones who should be talking to the guest. You are really there for a boys only episode. So while I get sexually harassed, my other co-host is trying to fire me, and you're trying to leverage me to be quiet during other guests. I never had a problem.
That's it right there. Which I'm not gonna lie, there's very, very solid points from Mr. Janko there. May his head be square, there are some brains inside of it. And he makes a lot of sense. So now he ends up leaving the bitch, and Bobby's apologizing. Now, we can X out of all of these and then go, except for the apology one. Let's keep that one open. George hits Bobby with this zinger. That's just, it's fucking biblical. It's biblical, mate. Let's play this one real fast.
No, I get it, dude. I get it, dude. I would do the same thing if I saw him. No, you can't eat him.
Okay.
Stop.
Right?
So anyway,
Right
I
there.
can get a taste.
Fucking classic. I love that. That's as good of revenge as I can possibly get.
And hold my fart like a bong rip.